What do you get when you combine an Intel 486 machine with a Performa 630? Well, Apple thought about this idea, so they took a 486 and their own Performa 630 and combined them together. So let's try to do what Apple did. First, I take my 486 motherboard. There you have it. I take a Performa 630 motherboard, I slam them together, and I try to somehow fit this into a Performa 630 case. Well, Apple was more successful with this, and they created the Performa 630 DOS compatible. And that's what we're going to review in this episode of the Computer Archive. Now let's take a look at how Apple did this. So they took the motherboard of a regular Performa 630. Here on this motherboard you see the Motorola processor and the RAM. This is processor direct slot. Now let's take a look at the motherboard of the Performa 630 DOS compatible. Here you have your Motorola processor for the Apple tasks. This is a 486 processor. I believe it's a DX2, 66 megahertz. What's interesting about this is the DOS compatibility card, which is essentially 486 motherboard, is situated on the processor direct slot, so you don't have that available anymore. This is a dedicated sound card. It's a Sound Blaster compatible sound card. It even featured a game port. That's how complete these motherboards are. This is the Apple RAM, and the motherboard of the 486 could have its own dedicated PC RAM. So you essentially had two computers. You had a DOS computer and an Apple computer. Shared components obviously were the power supply and the drives. So you had a CD-ROM drive with support in Windows, and you had your disk drive with a disk image for Windows. Apple had really thought of everything with the Performa 630 DOS compatible. It came with abundance of software, among which are these diskettes. These diskettes contain DOS and Windows 3.1, but also the drivers. So the DOS compatibility disk, this was an installer for Mac OS, so it could read DOS compatible disks. Here you have your sound card installation, display drivers, and here is the installation of Windows 3.1. 6 diskettes, and you were ready to go and ready to run with your DOS compatible Macintosh. What you see here is the Performa 630 DOS compatible running, and it has a unique control panel. It's called PC Setup, and here you can configure everything about the PC part of the machine. For example, we can choose our hard drive image here. We can choose the type of display that we have. Right now it's a 14-inch Apple RGB display. You can set up folder sharing. You can configure sounds. You can configure RAM. Now, in this machine, the 486 has its dedicated RAM, but you can also use the Apple RAM. And you can configure, in that case, you can configure the amount of RAM that you use right here. You can choose whether it auto starts a PC or not, whether it has a nice fading animation if you switch between screens, and you can choose your hotkey. Right now, that is Command Enter. Now, this hotkey is where the magic really happens. If I press Command Enter, it will automatically turn on the PC part of the machine, and it will switch to PC mode. With a simple keystroke, I switch to the 486 machine. You see, this is a genuine BIOS. Starting MS-DOS right now. Now if I want to switch back to the Macintosh environment, I just press Command Enter again. And we're back. I can switch as often and as fast as possible. Now, with my control panel, I can also choose to shut down the PC. And it's gone again. When I press Command Enter, it will start it up again. This machine came with another cool piece of software because the clipboard could be shared between the two systems. And I will start Windows to show you. As you hear, Windows is fully configured, including sound drivers. Let's start up WordPerfect. I will make a text start in WordPerfect, copy that, and paste it in the Macintosh environment. Now let's create a nice text start. So now let's copy my text start. And now I will switch to the Macintosh environment. Now you've got to watch closely because it will show us a very small window where it says that it's converting the clipboard to the Mac OS. You have it right here. So now let's start up ClarisWorks, where I can paste our text start. There we go. I will select paste. Oh, we have it in our Macintosh system. The same happens, of course, when you do it the other way. Let's make this bold. Now I'll copy this text. I switch back to the PC environment. And here we'll convert the Macintosh clipboard to the Windows environment. And I will paste the text here in WordPerfect that I just wrote on the Mac OS. And I have my text here. Now, as I told you, the drives of this machine are shared with Windows. Now, you may remember that not many 486 computers supported CD-ROM drives. This one does. And to show that, I will start a file manager. You see drive E here, which represents the CD-ROM drive. There's nothing in it right now. So I will insert a disk. And you see that the drive right now is accessible by Windows as well. You see all my Windows files here. I can start up a random application. This is a pool game, for example. But what's also interesting is that this disk is also available in the Macintosh environment. Now, the Macintosh doesn't recognize it because it's a non-hybrid disk. It's only written for Windows. But you see that it actually recognizes that there's a disk in it. If you use hybrid disks, which have a partition for both a Mac system and a Windows system, you can use them on both systems. One last cool feature about the Performa 630 DOS compatible is a Sound Blaster compatible sound card. Now, since this is a dedicated sound card for the 486, it works independently from the macOS. So when I switch to macOS, the music will continue playing. This Performa 630 DOS compatible is really one of the coolest machines I've seen from Apple. And that is because everything is so seamlessly integrated. It works so well and it's really innovative. So, if you found this as interesting as I do, I hope to see you back at the Computer Archive. There's a lot more cool things to come, so please subscribe and see you back.